New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
This is What's Up and Why, bringing you the bright side of life, one fun moment at a time. Brought to you by the New Thought Media Network. Please put your hands together for your hosts, Rev Casey Taylor and Miss B Lovely. Clap for me, clap for me. Hello. Welcome to What's Up and Why. I'm solo doloing it today. Miss B Lovely coming to you live from the lovely DMV area. We have a lot to get into today. I hope that you guys have been taking care of yourself, but I know that it's been a really, really hard week because an American icon, a shero, okay, a queen, got her butterfly wings earlier this week. I'm talking about the incomparable Miss Dolly Parton. We're going to jump right into What's Up and Why, the What's Up part of What's Up and Why. Dolly Parton, 80 years old. She was considered the queen of country music, maybe even the queen of music, known for hits like Jolene, 9 to 5, amazing songwriter. She penned the song I Will Always Love You that Whitney Houston helped shoot to, like, I think it got like 6 diamond plaques or something, but it became a huge hit worldwide. And Dolly Parton actually penned that. And she was a writer. She was a philanthropist. She was an actress. She starred in the movie 9 to 5. She starred in Steel Magnolias. She starred in TV shows alongside her goddaughter, Miley Cyrus, like Hannah Montana. That was actually my introduction to Dolly Parton when I was a kid, when she starred on Hannah Montana. But Dolly Parton, she was an American treasure, and we learned on Tuesday that she had died in Nashville at the Vanderbilt Medical Center. Had a short battle with cancer and had died at 80 years old. Her nephew released a video letting the world know about her passing. And I thought that was a very classy way to let people know that she passed. I love the fact that Dolly was so private. You didn't know anything about her private life, but you knew about her stage presence and about her work and how she created the Imagination Library and helped deliver millions of books to children through her foundation to help improve literacy around the world. And you knew about, like, her songwriting abilities. You knew about her kindness. There was a lot of people who had nothing but kind things to say to her about her. And everywhere that you're looking online, like, people, you see that she's touched people of different backgrounds, different races, different ages. She really transcended the way how one could be a superstar. And she was very much loved, very much appreciated. And you can kind of feel like the sadness around since the death of Dolly, because Dolly was supposed to be coming out with her Broadway play. Her Broadway play is supposed to hit and debut early next year. She was working on that. Her managers also let it be known after her passing that she had multiple projects down the line. According to a statement from her manager, it said, Dolly worked until the day that she died. She loved seeing her dreams come to life and loved knowing her work brought people joy. Ever the planner, Dolly worked with the team that she handpicked for the past several years to build a project roadmap that will guide us for decades to come. So Dolly was, according to her manager, Dolly had her hands in working on a biopic. A biopic on her was in the works, a docu-series, a scripted series, along with several other planned projects like an animated show. There's her Broadway musical that she's been working on and talking about for months that's supposed to debut. So Dolly has a lot of things that's in store for fans. So we do have something to look forward to in the future. And something else that I saw online was that Dolly's team had also let know that Dolly has a final record that's set to be released in 2046 on what would have been her 100th birthday. So Dolly wanted to make sure that she was leaving the place a better leaving the world a better place and leaving her fans with something that would give them joy in her absence. So rest in peace to Miss Dolly Parton. Her music is seeing a huge spike in streams. I think like her Spotify streams saw a 1,200% jump with songs like Jolene and 9 to 5. So people are missing Dolly, people are loving Dolly, but guys know that we do have some new Dolly Parton stuff that's going to be coming in the works. Like I said, her management said that she worked until the day that she died and that she has a team that Dolly hand selected before she died to put together a roadmap for several projects that are going to be coming out. So Dolly's going to have a biopic, a docu-series, a scripted series, an animated series, and then there's also that song that her team says that is supposed to be released on her 100th birthday, 2046. So rest in peace, Dolly Parton. Also want to give a rest in peace to Mr. Tim Curry, a phenomenal British actor who sadly passed away the same day that Dolly did. Tim Curry died in his LA home at the age of 80 years old. Now, Tim Curry, he has been plagued with health issues since 2012 when he had a catastrophic stroke, really bad stroke. He wasn't able to work anymore after 2012, and so he had been living with that. We do not know the cause of Tim Curry's death, but he did die Tuesday. If you're not familiar with Tim Curry's work, he's very famously known for playing a lot of villains in movies and shows like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Clue, Annie, Muppets, Treasure Island. I know that he played a bad what's it called, a pirate in that. He was also in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, alongside Macaulay Culkin and Catherine O'Hara, who sadly also passed away earlier this year. Rest in peace to Miss Catherine. I was introduced to Tim Curry when I was a child watching Nickelodeon, The Wild Thornberrys. If you remember The Wild Thornberrys, it was a very quirky show about a girl who family they were like National Geographic, a producer and a reporter. So Eliza was a little girl's name. Her family traveled around the world working for Nat Geo. It wasn't considered Nat Geo, but it was like it. So I'm just gonna say Nat Geo. And so the father, Tim Curry, he played Nigel Thornberry. So I remember as a kid, like hearing Tim Curry's voice, and I was like, oh, this is a very interesting voice because he had a very different and unique voice. But Nigel, Tim Curry played Nigel Thornberry. That was my introduction to him. I loved how quirky and funny his character was and how goofy his character was. And then when I would see him and other things like Home Alone 2 and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, so that's the guy. So rest in peace to Tim Curry. Gonna always remember him because he brought a lot of joy to my childhood on The Wild Thornberrys. Something that also brought a lot of joy to my childhood that I'm happy to see is making a resurgence, Harry Potter. So we already know there's the Harry Potter series, the TV show that's coming to HBO Max in the future, but an OG member is going to be joining the cast of a Harry Potter production that's hitting Broadway. We're talking about Mr. Rupert Grint, who played Ron Weasley in the 8 original Harry Potter movies. Always going to have love and respect for the OG Harry Potter because that's what I grew up on. It You grew up with Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint as Harry, Hermione, and Ron taking over the Wizarding World, trying to destroy Lord Voldemort. So Rupert is going to be reprising his role as Ron Weasley. And he actually gave a statement talking about it. He said, Ron Weasley has been part of my life since I was 11 years old, and I can't wait to meet him again in this stage of his life. There's something so full circle about stepping back into Ron's shoes now when we are both fathers. It is somehow both very familiar and completely new. And the joy of being back on Broadway, this time in a role that defines so much of my life, is truly exciting. So, this is going to be for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. This is like a spinoff of the Harry Potter movies. If you're not familiar with Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, it follows the Harry Potter characters when they are adults and Harry's children when they go to Hogwarts. So Rupert Grint will be reprising his role as Ronald Weasley, the adult version in this. I read the play in like 2017, 2018. I'm not sure if Ron, Harry, and Hermione had a very significant role in the play. I do remember that their characters were mentioned, and there were some instances of them, but I think that it really just focuses on their children at Hogwarts. And yeah, it's gonna be a really, really good play. He's supposed to be making his debut in this Broadway production, starting in February of 2027. He's going to be in it for 17 weeks. Now, Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy in the original Harry Potter, he has already reprised his role as Draco Malfoy. He's already playing in it now. He's going to be leaving January 3rd, 2027. So, unfortunately, they're not going to be crossing paths, which I think is a missed opportunity. But, you can always rewatch the original movie. That's what I do because it's still great. It still holds up. Something else that is from the past that we're going to be mentioning is Bel-Air, not the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air from the 90s, which is a great show. The Peacock drama series is actually making a spin-off of Bel-Air, and it's going to be focusing on the most fashionable Banks character, Miss Hilary Banks. Apparently, Peacock is working on a spinoff focusing on Hillary when she moves to New York City. So Hillary is going to be leaving Bel Air for New York City. She's going to be experiencing new love, new friends, new environment. And she's going to be working with a celebrity chef because if you watched Bel Air on Peacock before it ended in December, you saw that Hillary was really into her cooking bag. She was like streaming and become famous and living in a streaming house for local viral chefs. So really excited to see how this show is going to go. Coco Jones is going to be reprising her role. Love Coco Down. She just got married. Congrats to Coco. And she's also a great singer. So she has a lot of great things that's in the work. I'm really, really happy to see that Coco is going to be doing good. And I will definitely be tuning into this show. So speaking of shows, we are going to get into our next segment, which is called Do Better Blues. Cue the jazz music of the saxophone. So the Emmy Awards announced earlier this year that they are going to be creating a new award. It's called the Legacy Award. Now, the Legacy Award is supposed to be awarded to a show that has a minimum of 60 episodes, 5 seasons at a minimum. You have to have 60 episodes. You have to have been on the air for at least 5 seasons. You also have to be able to demonstrate that your show has a continued or sustained relevance, influence, or inspiration to a genre of TV, an existing or a new audience or society and culture. So the Legacy Award is supposed to be really the cream of the crop for the Emmy Awards. And this is going to be the first ever award. They just announced this week which show is going to be getting the Legacy Award. I was under the assumption it was going to be a show that had never received an Emmy Award before, something that really does stand the test of times. But the show that's going to be getting the inaugural Lifetime Legacy Award is I Love Lucy. It's going to be the first ever to get this award. It comes 75 years after I Love Lucy debuted on CBS, and it was a TV juggernaut. When I Love Lucy debuted, it took off. It was high in the ratings. It had received 20 Emmy Award nominations throughout its entire run while it originally aired. It had won for 4, including 2 for Best Situational Comedy Series. It was also inducted into the Television Academy Hall of Fame in 1991. So I Love Lucy, we know, is that girl of shows. It really did really make a big difference in the time when it first aired. And it made a lot of people laugh. It was a good comfort show. It received a lot of recognition. But when it comes to this Lifetime Legacy Award, you would think that the Emmys would want to honor a show that it had never received any type of recognition before. I personally thought The Wire was deserving of the show. The Wire met all of the qualifications, 5 seasons, over 60 episodes. Never won a single Emmy in its entire run. It had a phenomenal jam-packed cast. You had Idris Elba, Wendell Pierce. Who else was in it? So many amazing people. Oh, is it not Sterling K. Brown? Michael K. Brown. He had died of an overdose in New York. He played Omar, and it's really gonna bother me if I don't get his name, but it have a really, really great cast, really, really phenomenal storytelling. It really focuses on the city of Baltimore and how the institutions all work against the people of Baltimore. The institutions work in the best interest of the politicians, of local leaders. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of racism that helps create the environment that a lot of the inner city people of Baltimore have to face when it comes to food insecurity, job insecurity, lack of education, lack of access to to a healthy environment. And it's all because the institutions were working in the best interests of leaders and not in the best interests of people. And when you think of a legacy award, an award that's supposed to help shine a spotlight on a show that really resonates with society, culture, is an inspiration and an influence, and sustains relevance. Everything that had happened in The Wire then during its original air in the early 2000s, Baltimore is changing. I will say, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott is working hard to overhaul Baltimore and make it truly a charm city, a place where there's equal opportunity and access for people of all backgrounds, socioeconomic, spiritual, race, gender. But there's still some things in the institutions that need to be improved on, in which The Wire still holds relevance, in which The Wire is still true. A lot of the storytelling that was in it and the way how The Wire was written, it was written like a book. So it was a really, really deep type of subject matter to be that you needed to digest. And I love Lucy, give it so much respect. It's a great comedy, but I think that for the first Legacy Award, something that truly stands the test of time, something that really changed television and made an impact and can impact society as a whole, The Wire was right there. And it was a show that has never received any Emmy wins. It was barely nominated. It would only receive 2 Emmy nominations, both of them for writing. There was phenomenal acting in the show. There was phenomenal sound in the show. There was phenomenal cinematography in the show. I'm not being biased because I've worked in Baltimore. I went to college in Baltimore County. The Wire truly is a phenomenal show. I watched it maybe 20 years later after it had originally aired, and I was hooked as soon as got into it because a lot of the things that was happening, the police corruption, the corruption in the school system, the corruption with the city government, the racism and how it keeps people pigeonholed in negative environments. It was a lot of things that I remember writing about when I worked in Baltimore as a journalist more almost 20 years later. So it's like the fact that that was still relevant at the time when I was working as a journalist, and some of those instances are still relevant now, really shows that The Wire shows that it stands the test of time, and it does have a big significant impact on culture and society. So I do think that was a missed opportunity. There's always next time, but really was hoping that The Wire would get the Emmys first ever inaugural legacy award. But shout out to I Love Lucy. I don't think there's anybody that is alive that worked on that show that is able to accept the award, which is another thing. The Wire has a lot of people who are still alive who could have accepted the award. But hey, that's neither here nor there. We gave them the Do Better Blues. Hopefully they do better next year. Rev Casey Taylor is not here this week. So we would usually do it's giving reference and making peace with your inner shit talker. But today I want to do something different and check in. Oftentimes we're running through life, going fast and trying to get to the next thing. Nobody ever really stops and, you have to be really, really mindful to like stop, take a deep breath, and check in with yourself and see how you're doing. So in this moment, I'm going to ask for you to take a moment to pause and think about how are you taking care of yourself? In what ways are you pouring into your cup before you pour into other people's cups? There's this philosophy that I've learned that you can't pour into somebody else's cup when yours is empty. Just like on the airplane when they say in case of an emergency and the mask come down, make sure yours is on securely first before you help somebody else with their mask. If your cup is not empty, if your cup is not full, how are you going to be able to pour into other people's cups? So I want you guys to think about ways in which you can take care of yourself. How can you make your inner child happy and feel cared for and seen? For me, it's listening to my inner child. If I'm walking by a playground, there's no kids on the playground. I used to love playing on the swings, swinging on swings when I was a little kid. So if I walk by a playground on my walks and I see that there's no children around using the playground, I'll go and I get on the swing for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes just to, have that little burst of fun and relive my childhood for a little bit before I get back into my adult life. When I'm not doing that, I like to do deep breathing exercises where I breathe in for 4 seconds and then breathe out for 10. I find that that is a great way to like really recenter, be very present, to feel your body and realize I am a whole being. I need to be taken care of. How does my body feel? And then going from there. So, if you're in a position to do that, let's do a couple of deep breathing exercises. We're going to breathe in for 4 and out 10. In 4, out 10. Do you feel better? Because I know I do. Deep breathing is a really great way to give yourself a body scan and a way to reset and replant yourself. So, as you go into the rest of this day and into the weekend, I want you to think about how can I make my inner child happy? How can I take care of myself? Whether that's eating whatever your favorite type of snack or sweet treat is, whatever it's watching your favorite show, watching your favorite movie, or taking yourself to an amusement park or taking yourself to the library to get your new favorite book that you want. Do something to take care of yourself and make yourself feel good, okay? And remember, we only have one life, so make it count. Thanks for joining me for another episode of What's Up and Why. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.